Okay, yes. Love this. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the difference between the King of Swords and the King of Cups. Now, if you would like to learn about this and more, my next cohort for my tarot course starts October 13th. Link is in my bio. Okay, so the King of Swords. The swords always get such a bad rap. The swords represent the element of air, and they represent communication, intellect, the mind, things going on up here. And typically when there's stress in the Land of Swords, it has to do with like overthinking thoughts, thought processes, that kind of thing. The King of Swords, now out of all the kings, I would say he is going to be a very good communicator, okay? So you are going to know exactly where he stands, what he's thinking, all that kind of good stuff. He will be a very good communicator. He'd probably be, a professor, a teacher, maybe a public speaker or a litigator, lawyer, something like that. I mean, he can do a ton of things as a job, but these are just examples. Now, when it comes to romance, he's not going to be the cuddliest person. He's not going to be, well, we'll get into the King of Cups, but he's not going to be quite as cuddly and maybe not as romantic as the King of Cups. He may not be into public displays of affection as much. He could also be a little more stoic, so he probably doesn't show his emotions as much. Okay, so that is a little bit about the King of Swords. Now let's talk about the King of Cups. So the King of Cups, now the cups are a water sign, and they represent the divine feminine. Now the cups are all about emotion. So when people are asking for advice about love, a lot of times the cups will come up because the cups have to do with like relationships, emotions, love, that sort of thing. Now the King of Cups as a man, and when I say a man, P.S. and by the way, these would be, I would say, like, present as a male. Now, can a woman come up as a king? Absolutely. But they would have a very masculine presence, I would say. Okay, so let's talk about the King of Cups. The King of Cups, very in tune with his emotions, probably very romantic, definitely has a softer side, would have an appreciation for the arts, very much just much softer than the King of Swords. So the King of Cups would be very emotionally supportive, and like I said, an appreciation for the arts or more quote unquote feminine things. Okay, so very, very comfortable with his feminine side. Now let's talk about the darker side of these kings, shall we? Now, if you read reversals, great. If you don't, pay attention to the cards that come up around these two cards, okay? So if there's some stress coming up around him and he's not his best self, let's say he's his evil twin, I always say the King of Swords could cut you with his sword, and his sword would represent words. So this person could be extremely mean when it comes to the way they speak. Very reserved, a little almost militant, not a comfy kind of person, very hard to get along with. Now let's talk about this guy here, the King of Cups on his darker days, or his evil twin. If he's coming up reversed or there's some stressy cards around him, this guy would be very emotionally manipulative. So this would be like your narcissist or your love bomber, where it's just like over the top emotional, so much, too much up front, and then things just get manipulated and yucky after that. So that would be the darker side of these two kings. If you would like to know more about some more of the court cards or any kind of tarot tips, just comment under this video.